reports.
Welcome to this
Reports by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, which put the government on the spot over management of public resources, are now making it hard for the COB to fulfill her constitutional mandate, as her reports have turned her into a target. Nyakango states that the constitution requires her to present legislative gaps to the National Assembly. However, due to the lack of funds, the public participation exercise will not see the light of day.
Again, we have found ourselves stuck because we cannot carry out public participation. We needed only 20 million. We don't have that. And what it means is that legally, this year, we will not again present these legislative gaps, which come along with the COB regulations. Both of them are stuck for the same reason.
Chair, my thing is, as a constitutional implementation oversight committee, we also have a mandate to direct the budget committee to allocate this money in supplementary budget so that these public participations on this important legislative act can be carried out this financial year.
Appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Constitution, Implementation and Oversight chaired by Gathoni Wamushomba, Nyakango is decrying resource constraints that now make it challenging even to photocopy documents for members of parliament who stop by her library to access materials necessary for their oversight role.
Right now, I have a lot of requests from both MPs and senators who need documents under the Access to Information Act, but I'm unable to do copies for them because I actually cannot afford that. So I've asked them to come to my library where I will access the documentation and they can view it there and make their way, which is a bit unfortunate.
To run her office, the COB has a budget of 700 million, of which more than half is allocated to paying salaries.
The total work plan for this financial year is 1,62870,443, out of which we have 702,251,897, leaving us with a shortfall of 933,615 and 46.
In her reporting on economic development, the COB now alleges that there is a deliberate attempt to exclude her from scrutinizing the spending of money coming into the country as loans and grants.
I read the areas where I'm not supposed to question. Until that law is changed, I am within my boundaries. So it is not my office that has the error. We have to look elsewhere. The drafters of the COB Act, which is my anchor act, saw it wise to leave me out of that. So now we need to find out who else is this that was supposed to do it. You're satisfied? Yes. Very good.
Brian Amoai, K24. Now, President William Ruto has highlighted a significant gap in the health sector, which he says will be addressed through reforms aimed at achieving universal health coverage. Now, speaking during a meeting with Ministry of Health officials, governors and other stakeholders, Ruto urged Kenyans to register under the new Social Health Insurance Fund to access healthcare services. Robbie Omondi with that report.
In a ruling on July 12th, the High Court declared the Social Health Insurance Act unconstitutional, citing unmet public participation threshold, even though the government has continuously stated that the new cover would effectively cover everyone and reduce financial burden imposed by healthcare costs.
Level of consultation.
Earlier today, President William Ruto, while addressing officials from the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders, reaffirmed that the Social Health Authority is key to implementing universal health coverage, urging all Kenyans to register.
I was told this morning we have 1.2 million people, new people into the system. We should be able by next week to transfer and transit the 9 million members in in NHIF, now to the new framework, and that will significantly give us the numbers.
The president says that many Kenyans still have to fundraise to access health services, a situation that will be solved through pooled efforts by stakeholders to achieve universal health coverage.
The many harambes we used to hold in the past was for school fees. But after what we did around education, that problem there are no more harambes anymore about school fees. They are very, very exceptional situations. The only problem that we still have is harambes around matters health. And that is why it is important for us to solve this health puzzle.
On August 16th, the government issued a circular instructing regional and county directors of education to ensure all parents register their children as dependents under the SHIF before the new school term begins. However, the High Court has put this on hold until the case filed by the Law Society of Kenya is determined on the 8th of October.
We have tried using the legislation we have to address the areas that resulted in us not achieving the intention of universal health coverage, as we have all been looking forward to as a nation.
The new health coverage system includes the Primary Health Care Fund, the Social Health Insurance Fund, and the Emergency Fund, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund. The last NHIF registration is expected to be on September 30th, while SHA benefits starting on October 1st, 2024. Robbie Omondi, K24.
Now, the government is ready to transition to grade 9 learners grade 8 learners to grade 9 under the new competency-based curriculum. The Principal Secretary, Belio Kipsang, has revealed this. This is a story by John Makuba. Let's take a look.
Of Education, Belio Kipsang, has today assured Kenyans that the government is ready for the grade 8 to grade 9 transition under the new competence-based curriculum. PS was speaking while in Nyandarua County after an assessment on the level of preparedness for transitioning the learners, has noted that all instructional materials have been furnished in all schools in junior and secondary schools, alongside training of teachers on the same.
As we are all aware, in another 4 months, our children will be transiting from grade 8 to grade 9, so that now we shall have had a full cycle of primary school, starting with PP1, PP2, primary school, and now the junior school. We shall have fully now implemented CPC on those 3 levels of learning as we prepare ourselves for transition to senior school in January of 2026.
Kipsang said the government is currently constructing 11,000 classrooms across the country to fully implement the junior schools, and at the same time noted that out of the capitation given to schools, Kenyan shillings 3,000 will be used for maintenance and furnishing the classes with desks.
We have also agreed with our head teachers and the heads of institutions that out of the capitation that we give them, we have 3,000 shillings that goes towards maintenance and improvement. Using that particular part of resource, they will be able to furnish the classrooms to make sure that we have desks in those classrooms ready for our children in January.
On the school in Fano, the PS said that all the victims of the Endarasha Academy fire incident have been matched with their parents' DNA. He at the same time said that the government will review the school safety manual to a legal framework incorporating punitive measures that will be taken for those not adhering to safety measures.
Our colleagues from the forensic team, our colleagues from the health sector have been doing a thorough job. They have assured us that they've been able to identify all our children. They have been able to match all our children through DNA to their parents, and therefore now our regional commissioner who was in charge of, our regional commissioner for Central, who was in charge of managing the disaster that we found ourselves in, will be communicating and guiding us on the way forward when we shall be having a service for our children.
John Makuba, K24 TV.
Right, let's take a look at what's happening in the business world. Now today, confusion and worry spread across farms as new government rules leave fruit and vegetable farmers uncertain. Now, in a recent announcement, the Agriculture and Food Authority introduced new rules requiring farmers to get NEMA licenses to grow vegetables, which could cost up to 10,000 shillings. Farmers must also do soil and water tests costing between 2,500 and 5,000 shillings and meet certification standards.
Shillings. In addition, farmers are required to conduct soil and water analysis costing between 2,500 and 5,000 shillings. They must also obtain certification from national or international standard bodies and prepare extensive records, including nutrient analysis and compost or manure. However, a few hours later, AFA clarified that many publications had miscommunicated the requirements. The KS 1758 standard developed by KEBS is not mandatory. Farmers can choose whether to be certified. Meanwhile, penalties will apply to middlemen, distributors, processors or any buyer who purchases from uncertified farmers. The KS 1758 standard, presented as a food safety measure, imposes over 500 new rules. Critics warn it could disrupt the supply of over 90% of the country's locally consumed fruits and vegetables. As the situation unfolds, farmers remain uncertain, navigating the complexities of these new regulations and their impact on the agricultural landscape. Linda Koskei, K24 TV.
Now, MV Uhuru 2 has officially been handed over to the Kenya Railways Corporation by Kenya Shipyard Limited at the Kisumu Inland Port. Now, the ship will make its first maiden voyage to Uganda after the official handover. This milestone event, which put Kenya in the limelight of shipbuilders in Africa, is expected to boost trade in Lake Victoria and enhance economic integration and cooperation between Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. MV Uhuru 2 becomes the first locally built ship in Kenya by Kenyans and will join her sister MV Uhuru 1, which was built more than 50 years ago to sail in the open waters of Lake Victoria, majorly shipping cargo to Uganda and Tanzania. The event was graced by Defense CS Soipantia and her transport counterpart, Davis Churchill.
It's one of the cheapest transport that we can leverage on and be a competitive economy, servicing the region as an anchor state, geographically positioned with the Mombasa port. Mainga should now be able to almost do a ship-to-door service in terms of delivery of service. We don't want to know when you're using the road to connect, when you're using the railway or when you're using the lake. But please attempt to do sea-to-door delivery at that very competitive price.
The shipyard is capable of not only constructing cargo vessels, but also passenger and fishing vessels. And Honorable Excellency Governor and the leadership of the Lake region, I wish to appreciate the immediate uptake and recognition of the potential that we have with the Kenya Shipyards Limited partnership to revive trade and the general economy of the Lake region for the betterment of the people of Kenya.
Right, Kambu Textbook Center has opened a new branch in Ruiru, Kiambu County, as demand for quality education resources continues to rise. This is the 13th branch for KTC and the second outside of Nairobi. Now, speaking at the launch, KTC CEO Sanchin Verma said that with the increase in educational institutions from primary to tertiary levels, the demand for quality education resources has never been higher. The education sector received the largest share of the national budget this year, with a total allocation of 628.6 billion for the 2023-2024 financial year, representing 27.4% of planned national expenditure.
Kambu County has witnessed tremendous growth in the education sector, becoming a hub for academic excellence. There's been a rise in educational institutions here from primary through to tertiary levels, and the demand for education resources has never been higher. Our presence here is a testament to our commitment to support this growth, ensuring that students and educators both have access to the materials and resources they require.
Their investment not only enriches our educational landscape, but also underscores the importance of partnerships between the private sector and government entities in fostering holistic development.
And I want to believe the demands of education services in this county will be met by your being here. This is very key in offering accessibility and quality education.
Have you watched K24? We would love to hear from you. Send us your feedback on what you like and what you don't like and why. You can use any platform to reach us. We can be reached